Picture this. You're walking through ancient Babylon, 3,800 years ago. You steal a sheep. The punishment? Your hand is cut off. You strike a nobleman? Prepare to lose your eye. Welcome to the world's first written legal system, where justice was carved in stone and mercy was a foreign concept. Today, we're diving deep into the Code of Hammurabi, the brutal foundation of every law you live by today. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why this ancient king's thirst for absolute justice created a legacy that still haunts our legal systems millennia later. But first, if dark historical mysteries like this fascinate you, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. The year is 1901. French archaeologist Jacques de Morgan is excavating the ancient city of Susa in Iran when his team uncovers something extraordinary. A massive black stone pillar, nearly 8 feet tall, covered in strange cuneiform writing. What they didn't realize at that moment was that they had just discovered the oldest complete legal code in human history. This wasn't just any ancient artifact. This was the Code of Hammurabi, 282 laws that governed one of history's most powerful empires. Laws so harsh, so unforgiving, that they would make modern justice systems seem merciful by comparison. But here's what most people don't know. Hammurabi didn't create these laws to be cruel. He created them to be fair. And that's what makes this story so chilling. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this deep dive into ancient mysteries, show some love with a like. It helps more people discover these incredible historical secrets. To understand the code, we must first understand the man who created it. Hammurabi wasn't born to rule the world. He inherited a small kingdom in a dangerous time. Picture ancient Mesopotamia around 1792 BC. City-states were constantly at war. Trade routes were controlled by bandits. Justice was arbitrary, decided by whoever held the most power in the moment. There were no written laws, no consistency, no protection for the weak. Hammurabi saw this chaos and made a decision that would change human civilization forever. He would unite all of Mesopotamia under one ruler himself. But more importantly, he would create a system where everyone, rich and poor, noble and commoner, would know exactly what the law was. Over the course of his 43-year reign, Hammurabi conquered nearly all of Mesopotamia. But his greatest conquest wasn't military, it was legal. He created the world's first written constitution, carved it in stone, and placed copies throughout his empire. The message was clear. This is the law. It applies to everyone, and it never changes. But what Hammurabi couldn't have predicted was how dark these laws would seem to future generations. The Code of Hammurabi isn't just a legal document. It's a work of art that tells a story of divine authority and absolute power. It's the top of the 8-foot stone pillar. We see a carved relief. Hammurabi standing before Shamash, the Babylonian god of justice. Shamash is handing Hammurabi a rod and ring, symbols of divine authority to create and enforce laws. This wasn't just decoration. This was propaganda. Hammurabi was telling his people that these laws didn't come from him. They came from the gods themselves. To break these laws wasn't just a crime against the state. It was a sin against the divine order of the universe. The laws themselves are written in Akkadian cuneiform, arranged in 3 sections. A prologue explaining Hammurabi's divine mission, the 282 laws themselves, and an epilogue promising blessings for those who obey and curses for those who defy. But here's what's truly chilling. Hammurabi wanted these laws to last forever. In the epilogue, he writes that any future king who changes or destroys these laws will be cursed by the gods. Their dynasty will fall, their cities will be destroyed, and their names will be forgotten by history. Speaking of being remembered by history, drop a comment below. What do you think would happen if we applied Hammurabi's laws today? I read every comment, and some of your insights might make it into future videos. Picture this. You're walking through ancient Babylon, 3,800 years ago. You steal a sheep. The punishment? Your hand is cut off. You strike a nobleman? Prepare to lose your eye. Welcome to the world's first written legal system, where justice was carved in stone and mercy was a foreign concept. Today, we're diving deep into the Code of Hammurabi, the brutal foundation of every law you live by today. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why this ancient king's thirst for absolute justice created a legacy that still haunts our legal systems millennia later. But first, if dark historical mysteries like this fascinate you, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. But the code's treatment of women reveals perhaps the darkest aspects of ancient Babylonian society. Women in Hammurabi's time had some rights. They could own property, engage in business, and even serve as witnesses in court. But they were also subject to laws that would be considered horrifying today. Law 142. If a woman hates her husband and says, "You cannot have me," the city shall investigate. If she is blameless and her husband has been going about and disparaging her, that woman will not be punished. She may take her dowry and return to her father's house. This might sound progressive, but listen to the alternative. Law 143. If she has not been discreet but has been going out, ruining her house and disparaging her husband, they shall throw that woman into the water. Drowning was the punishment for a woman who didn't properly submit to her husband's authority. Law 110. If a priestess who is not living in the temple opens a wine shop or enters a wine shop for drink, they shall burn that woman. Even religious women face death for something as simple as having a drink in public, but perhaps most disturbing are the laws regarding adultery. Law 129. If the wife of a man is caught lying with another man, they shall tie them up and throw them in the water. Both the woman and her lover would drown. But if the husband chose to spare his wife's life, the king could spare her lover as well. A woman's life literally depended on her husband's mercy. What makes the Code of Hammurabi even more fascinating and terrifying is how it handled evidence and proof in a world without forensic science, without DNA testing, without surveillance cameras. How do you prove someone's guilt? Hammurabi's answer was both ingenious and brutal. Trial by ordeal. Law 2. If a man accuses another man of sorcery but cannot prove it, the accused shall go to the sacred river and plunge in. If the sacred river overwhelms him, the one who accused him shall take possession of his house. If the sacred river shows that man to be innocent and he comes out safely, the one who accused him shall be put to death, and the one who plunged into the river shall take the accuser's house. Think about this. If someone accused you of witchcraft, your only way to prove innocence was to jump into a river and hope you didn't drown. If you survived, your accuser would be executed and you'd get their property. If you drowned, well, the gods had spoken. But here's what's truly chilling. This system was considered revolutionary for its time. Before Hammurabi, accusations were often settled by whoever was stronger or had more political connections. At least now there was a system, even if that system could literally drown innocent people. Law 3 extends this logic even further. If a man bears false witness in a case and the statement he made is not substantiated, if that case involved life and death, that man shall be put to death. The penalty for lying in court was death, but only if the case involved a death penalty. This created a terrifying situation where the stakes of every legal proceeding could escalate to life and death. But Hammurabi's code wasn't just about punishment. It was also about creating economic stability in a chaotic world. And some of these economic laws reveal just how precarious life was in ancient Babylon. Law 48. If a man has a debt upon him and a storm destroys his field or carries off the crop, in that year he does not have to pay his creditor. This was revolutionary, the world's first bankruptcy protection due to natural disasters. But listen to Law 117. If a man is in debt and sells his wife, son, or daughter, or binds them over to service, for 3 years they shall work in the house of their buyer or master. In the 4th year they shall be given their freedom. Debt slavery was legal, but limited to 3 years. Families could literally sell themselves to pay off debts. Law 104. If a merchant gives a trader grain, wool, oil, or any goods to trade, the trader shall write down the value and return the money to the merchant. The trader shall take a sealed receipt for the money given to the merchant. This is one of the earliest examples of written contracts and receipts, the foundation of all modern commerce. But Law 108 reveals the darker side. If a female wine seller does not accept grain according to gross weight in payment of drinks, but accepts money, and if she makes the value of the drink less than the value of the grain, they shall convict that wine seller and throw her into the water. Death by drowning for short-changing customers on drinks. For nearly 1,500 years, the Code of Hammurabi influenced legal systems throughout the ancient world. Copies were placed in temples and public squares across the Babylonian Empire. Everyone could see the laws, even if they couldn't read them. But then, something extraordinary happened. The original stele, that 8-foot pillar of black stone, disappeared from Babylon. That we now know it was taken as war booty by the Elamite king Shutruk-Nahunti around 1158 BC, transported to his capital city of Susa, and displayed as a trophy of conquest. There it sat, forgotten by history, for nearly 3,000 years. When French archaeologist Jacques de Morgan found it in 1901, he couldn't have imagined the impact of his discovery. The Code of Hammurabi revolutionized our understanding of ancient law, society, and justice. But here's what's truly remarkable. Many legal principles from Hammurabi's code still exist in modern law. The presumption of innocence, written contracts, proportional punishment, witness testimony. These concepts that we consider fundamental to justice all trace back to the stone pillar created nearly 4,000 years ago. Today, the original Code of Hammurabi sits in the Louvre Museum in Paris, still as imposing and mysterious as it was when it governed one of history's greatest empires. The Code of Hammurabi gives us a window into humanity's first attempt at creating a fair and just society. Were the laws harsh? Absolutely. Were they brutal by modern standards? Without question. But they were also revolutionary. For the first time in human history, justice wasn't arbitrary. Laws weren't secret. Everyone, from the king to the slave, knew what was expected of them and what would happen if they broke the rules. Hammurabi's greatest achievement wasn't conquering Mesopotamia. It was conquering the concept of chaos itself. He replaced the arbitrary rule of the strong with the predictable rule of law. The next time you sign a contract, appear in court, or expect equal treatment under the law, remember, you're participating in a system that began with a Babylonian king who carved justice into stone and dared the gods themselves to make it eternal. If this dive into ancient history fascinated you, smash that like button and subscribe for more dark historical mysteries. And here's my question for you. Which of Hammurabi's laws shocked you the most? Drop your answer in the comments below. I respond to as many as I can, and your insights help shape future videos. Next week, we're exploring another ancient mystery that will blow your mind. The lost city of Atlantis? Was Plato describing a real place? Or was he hiding an even darker truth about ancient civilizations? Hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. Until then, keep questioning history.